Hey everyone, topic number 3, Greg Dickerson. Again, he has a playlist on this channel. If you want to be a part of the expert series, make sure you subscribe to the channel. You can leave comments. We both look and answer the questions when they come up. So this is going to be a fun topic, Greg. Thanks for being a part of today.
Yeah, man, it's been a good one. We had 2 good episodes so far, so let's close it down.
Yeah, that's right. Close strong. This is one I get all the time. And we really got to answer it 2 different ways. And that is, hey, the market's kind of on fire, at least for single family. It's certainly interesting in commercial. Some segments hot, some segments cool. But what do you guys do with your cash? Right. And when I get that question, I really have to think about it 2 ways, because there was Mike Zuber a decade ago, and then there's Mike Zuber today. I don't know if it's the same for you, but there was a time in my career where if I saw too big a number in my bank account, I was freaking out. Like I had to deploy it. So I don't know what you think about that question, but I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah. So it all depends on, how much you have, what stage of life you're in, and what your goals are. So there's different levels there. So let's say, you're ultra high net worth, you're liquid, 50, 100 million or more, you're going to have very different strategies there. And you're going to want to hold a certain percentage of that in very liquid assets, like, maybe money markets, something like that. You're going to have some cash set aside that are liquid, you can get at really quick. Sometimes you're going to hold that in treasuries. Sometimes you're going to hold that in real estate. And some of it you're just going to keep in the bank, right?
Yeah.
So you got to spread it out. So, when you're at that level or more, that's kind of how that works. And then when you're ultra, and, you're 100 million or more, generally you're going to find a lot of those in bonds, treasuries, maybe some gold, things like that. If they're into equities, you're going to hold some of that, but that's not somewhere where you would just typically put cash.
Yeah, it's not cash.
Equities is not a cash, it's not where you store your
not cash management. No,
right.
Not typically.
Right. That's a little bit different, today. Now that the whole "don't fight the Fed," that's what "don't fight the Fed" means, is that they're pushing you into risk assets to store cash. So that's really at the essence of "don't fight the Fed," what that means. So today, institutions are being pushed and forced into risk assets for yield.
Sure.
Where typically they'd hold them in treasuries or bonds or something like that. So that's there, for the average individual, that's doing whatever early stage career. When you're in your building phase, you want to move your cash, deploy it in and out, keep it moving. So for me, I've always been a compounder of cash, and I've been a developer. So, you need cash when you're a developer. It's a very cash intensive business as you go through. And it's so funny is that, I'd build my cash up, and every time I had cash like you, I'd be like, okay, I need to put it to work. And I'd go find deals, and then I'd have no cash and something would pop up. I'm like, yeah. So it was really funny. Every time I used cash, I needed more cash, so I went on this path to where I wanted to build and have that cash set aside and ready, and started building my other, financing options so that I didn't have to use my own money. So that became a challenge to me as I became more experienced and more skilled, and my financials and my credit situation grew, and I was able to borrow more money from banks and things like that. I would challenge myself not to use my cash and to use these other resources. So and I didn't rely on investors or private lenders early in my career. It was all me, my own cash, the companies I had, the cash flow they were generating, in banks. That's where I got all my money early on in my career. And then as I grew in my skill and expertise later, and figured out you could do deals with people and people would lend you money, I didn't even know that starting out.
I didn't either.
Had no idea.
No idea.
The first time I experienced that was when a friend of mine came to me, and it was the first real estate deal I did. We've talked about it on here. It was a lot flip. He said, hey, there's a lot over here. We can buy it today. My dad's got a client. We can sell it to him next week for 30,000 more than we buy it for. And I'm like, can you do that? And he's like, yeah. He said, you put up all the money, I'll do everything else. And he was a realtor. So that's when I realized, wait a minute, I'm a lender. And then I had another builder who got in trouble on a house and needed 25 grand to finish it. And he called me up, and I loaned him money. I'm like, yeah, I didn't even know that was a thing. Right. So, early on, I was always wanting to deploy cash, but my whole thing was been to compound cash, because you want to be ready when a deal comes along so that you can take it down. And then you want to have the lenders ready with your information at any time, so that once you take it down, you can call them and then refinance it out and pull your cash back out, and leave as little in there as possible. So
that's so funny. It's so funny. Our history on this is so similar. The first 8 years of my career, it was all just me trudging away at a W-2 job and, living modestly, living below my means, saving up the next for the down payment. And once it got to a certain number, right? So let's be clear. when I say cash, I always had an emergency reserve. That was always
Mhm.
somewhere else, right? It was not like I used that, just so people don't misunderstand.
I didn't.
Yeah, I did.
Early on, man, I was.
Go, 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 go. Yeah. So yeah, we had the emergency fund, never touched it. But yeah, every time I got to a certain number, call it 15, call it 20 grand, because that's about what it took for a down payment, I'd buy another house just as fast as I could.
Yeah.
And then, as the market took off and deals were harder to find, then, you find other ways, and then the market crashes. Banks are telling me no. I never had a bank tell me no. 800 credit score, 7-figure net worth, 6-figure income, never missed a payment. Banks told me no. I'm like, I didn't know that was possible. So deals were everywhere. So I had to go find money, hard money first, then private money. Yeah. Private money. I mean, millions of dollars raised in 2010. If just tell people what you're doing, offer them what they want. Listen, you want 10% interest? Great. I can make that work, and just recycle my cash. So I would buy it, close, refi, get all my money back, do it again, do it again,
Yeah.
do it again.
Yeah,
Magic.
it took me a long time to get there. And see, so the difference was, so I had a bunch of companies, so I had cash flow. So I had a
Yeah.
number of different businesses, so I had a lot of cash coming in.
Uh,
So I wasn't worried about clearing out the bank account because I would do it. If something came up, because I knew I had more coming in next week. I'd build
right.
this, build that, collect this, money coming in. So I wasn't really worried about that. At a certain point. Now, I'm not saying that's the right way. I'm just
Yeah.
saying that's how
Just
I
what
rolled
happened.
back then.
Yeah.
Because I was learning, right? I didn't know any better. And when I first started, to your point, I had great, credit. I had businesses, but I could not get a bank to loan me money for anything. So I had to finance my first companies on, credit cards,
Yeah.
taking, car loans to buy vehicles for my companies. As I grew them, I had to finance them all.
Sure.
Just I had to do anything and everything I could creatively until I started really establishing myself as a business after a number of years. But yeah, the banks would not lend to me. It was the most frustrating thing when I first started out.
Yeah, so we've all been there. That's for sure. Now let's fast forward to today. We won't say actual numbers, but let's just say you have a fair amount of cash today, as I do. When you look at cash management today, I mean, like, let's go back to like April, right? We're right in the depths of the dark winters. We don't know what's happening. What were you doing anything different when you're cash, or did you look at it differently? Probably wasn't burning a hole in your pocket, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I'm in no hurry to do anything. I'm in a different stage now.
Yeah.
So, I'm more selective with what I do. And, this stage of my life, I'm more about, impact and sharing the lessons of what I've learned over the years and, trying to give back before I check out because you just never know when that's
Yeah.
going to be. And I like to do deals. I like to do things, and I understand myself. I'm a risk taker, so I have
Sure.
to be careful. And again, what I challenge myself to do is to do deals without using my own money. So,
Still.
yeah, oh yeah, still, because I have, I've got tons of people all the time looking to do something, that want to
Right.
do deals, and they're very liquid. They
Yeah.
make us look like, beginners, and just these relationships I've built over the years, and they're always looking for deals and opportunities. So
Okay.
I don't really have to use cash,
Interesting.
unless it's something I want to just do on my own, and nobody else. Then that's
Yeah.
different. But yeah, I'm very careful and cautious right now. I'm in no hurry to do anything right now, just because there's still a lot of uncertainty. There's still, a little bit of a road ahead of us,
Sure.
until we know where things are going to be, what the tax, environment's going to look like. I can't assess that risk yet because I don't know what's
Yeah,
tax policy going to look like,
for sure.
what's the regulatory environment going to look like in terms of rent controls, things like that, the approval process for development,
Yeah.
anti-development, pro-development. What are these things going to look like, with the new administration in certain levels? So, and even at the state and local level, what are the taxes going to look like on things there? So
Yeah.
it's a very difficult time to move on anything long term right now. But interest rates are so cheap that the money's free. So you
Yeah.
almost don't want to use your cash. I mean, it almost costs you money to use your cash now with the way interest rates are versus 3, 4, 5 years ago. It made a lot more sense, especially early on in my career, to use your cash versus the bank because you're making 10%.
Mhm.
But nowadays you can borrow money and sub 3%. So
Yeah.
it just doesn't make any sense to use your cash.
Yeah. What I'll say these days, and again, I mean, again, I remember where I was 10 years ago, where it would come in my account, it would be deployed on an asset ASAP. I have no problem just letting cash build in a money market account. I'm not looking to maximize an extra 0.5%. Right. I have it split out over bank
Yeah.
accounts. So the FDIC limits and all of that are in play. But yeah, I have no problem just sitting on it. It doesn't bother me one iota. I was earning 2.5% before, and now I'm earning 0.5%. Doesn't bother me at all. If a deal of a lifetime comes along, I'll strike. If not, I'm just going to sit tight and wait.
Yeah, you're keeping up with, inflation if we can ever get back to inflation.
Mhm.
And, again, why use it when you can borrow and just keep that there for whatever? Because, something is going to come along where you're going to be like, dang it, I wish I had that cash.
Absolutely. I've learned that lesson. Yeah. So
Hmm.
like you said, once you deploy, it's like, oh, yeah, I keep it a lot. I keep it by, when we're refining some apartments right now. So it's nice to have a big cash balance so you look safe and all of that. You're not running skinny business. But yeah, it
Yeah,
just
cash is king. And, you don't want to get yourself into a position where you feel like you have to do a deal just to keep the cash moving, just to keep,
yeah,
feeling like you're growing and, make some bad decisions. So you always want to be
that's
patient. You always want to be willing to walk away from a deal. If it doesn't work, if there's something that stinks about it, you just don't have a good feeling, let it go. You just never know. And a lot of times I've walked away from deals that came back a year, 2 years, 5 years later, much better opportunities than initially.
yeah. I just want to go over that one more time. We're both in a position, and I want the listeners to be there too. Is you don't have to do a deal, right? Trust me, if you have 50, 100, 500, whatever it is, cash in the bank, you don't have to do a deal.
Yeah.
Just that's a dangerous feeling, especially today that like you have to repel cash. Like if you believe cash is trash, some people follow me believe cash is trash, like it has to be deployed. Trust me, it's not trash.
Yeah, cash is king. It always will be. We're the reserve currency of the world. We always will be. The yuan's not going to take over. Uh, it just isn't going to change.
Yeah.
And if it did, then the world economy is a whole different
Yeah.
ball game at that point.
Yeah.
But early in my career, I remember when I first started doing spec houses and things like that. I had this. I wanted to buy every lot that came
Mm,
on the market because lots were not for sale. They weren't available. So whenever something came on the market, I was out there buying them up
right.
because I wanted inventory and I wanted to keep doing projects and building and selling. So I did have a big, fear of missing out, sense of urgency back then. But that was pre 2008-9 when things were just up and up and up.
Hmm.
And it was really interesting because I had a sense that it was never going to end, but it couldn't last forever, if that
Ah,
makes sense, in terms of how urgent I was.
yeah. Yeah.
So I was confident in what I do today is going to be worth more tomorrow, but this could be over sometime.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know so that was a really interesting phase to be in.
Yeah. Very, very cool. So any closing thoughts? I don't know if we want to call it cash management or holding cash as we wrap this up.
Yeah, just be smart, be nimble, be liquid, so that you can take advantage of the right opportunity when it comes along, and you'll know what that is when it comes along. And generally that means you're going to double your money or better.
Yeah, and again, I want to just close with cash is king. It's not trash. I think there's that dichotomy out there in the world, right? Ray Dalio says cash is trash, and others say cash is king. If you're in the real estate investing business, trust me, having cash is never a bad thing.
Well, when you hear somebody like Ray say that, you should send him an email and say, hey, I'll be happy to take your trash out for you.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. That's good. I'm going to use that. All right, man. Thank you very much. Enjoy the weekend. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you too, Michael.
Thank you.